Welcome to Wrightbus Life Coaching Channel. When conversations fail, we risk missing out on a crucial piece of information that might have led to a different outcome. It might be that we've alienated the other person by dominating or constantly butting in just to get our points across. If we want to have meaningful conversations, there are two key skills we need to master: the ability to listen and the power to refrain from interrupting. As the saying goes, we have two ears and one mouth. This is so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. In a short while, I'll be offering 5 recommendations for effective listening, and we'll hear how ill-intentioned interruptions can be dangerous. I'll be back after the opening titles. In the meantime, are you on the right bus? And thank you for joining me. Here we are talking all matters life coaching. My name is Mervyn Strawn, creator of the 3 Journeys life coaching system, and I'm also the author of the self-help guide Imagine Life as 3 Bus Journeys. Now, most of us regard ourselves as good listeners, but really we're flattering ourselves, because listening is a skill that takes time to develop and it takes work to stay good at it. It's particularly challenging because many of us are prone to interrupting just so that we can make our own views known. Lacking these skills might mean we're missing out on a golden nugget of information, a valuable insight that might have led to a better conclusion, personally and professionally. As for interruptions, well, they can be destructive, according to coaching expert, leadership consultant, lecturer and international speaker Nancy Kline. She writes about the subject in her new book, The Promise That Changes Everything, I Won't Interrupt You. And given that she was once named International Listener of the Year, it's something that Kline knows a great deal about. Kline draws our attention to research by the Gottman Institute in Seattle that found that our listening attention rate has plummeted in recent years. 3 years ago, our average listening time was 20 seconds, but it's now shrunk to a measly 11 seconds. What does this say about us? Kline argues that it's disconnection that distances people rather than the result of the disagreement, and points out that interruptions are destructive. She tells us that the brain registers an interruption as a physical assault, prompting it to go into freeze, flee, or fight mode. If you're on the receiving end, the fear of knowing you'll be interrupted often curbs your desire to express your feelings, your hopes, your dreams and desires. My own analogy for interruptions is that all too often we treat conversations like a dodgem car ride. We fail to listen and interrupt instead. Each interruption is a dodgem car shunt. There's a brief respite and then we shunt the other person again, or we continue to shunt one another. So how do we go about improving our conversations? Well, ditching the interruptions and learning to become an active listener would be a good start. An active listener gives the other person space to speak. The active listener makes a deliberate effort to understand the message that's being communicated. I'm now going to list my top 5 tips to help you become an active listener and to enrich your conversations. Here goes. Number 1. Give the speaker your full attention. Avoid any distractions such as checking your mobile phone or eavesdropping nearby conversations. And giving them your full attention also means refraining from using this listening time to make judgment or develop a counter-argument. Number 2, encourage the other person. Look at the speaker, nod and use facial expressions to encourage them and to show that you're engaged. Number 3, observe body language. As well as using spoken word, the speaker will be using their body language to communicate. So pay attention to this, and do pay attention to your own body language to ensure that it's constructive to the discussion. Number 4, paraphrase and summarize. It helps the conversation if occasionally you paraphrase and summarize to show that you understand or want to understand what is being said. And finally, number 5, ditch the desire to interrupt. Given what we now know about the destructive nature of interrupting, this is obvious. If you're prone to interrupting, the good news is that you'll find that it becomes easier to refrain from doing so with practice. In his international bestseller, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stephen Covey emphasizes the importance of understanding first, then being understood. He lists this as the 5th of the 7 habits. This habit moves us from focusing on what we want to understanding what the other person wants. It takes into account the fact that we each think differently, and it helps to remove our subjectivity and leads to a much more informed decision. So if you're about to interrupt, press that pause button, because there's a prize for listening intently. It makes for a richer communication experience and helps to forge stronger personal and professional relationships. And we learn something in the process. Well, that's all for this latest video. Feel free to give it a like and leave a comment, and remember to press that subscribe button so that you're alerted to future content. And of course, enjoy the journey.